What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Money Down Pod. That is Sean White. I am Kayvon Izami, and here we are with some NBA talk, baby. Our first pod on the NBA. Football season is gone. We are still doing the NFL draft, though, so stay tuned for that. We've already done a couple of those. We've already done our mock draft. First one, we'll do many more of those. We've done a couple wide receiver QB rankings, but we told you guys from the beginning, once the NFL is officially over, we're moving straight into the NBA, a sport that me and Sean love and follow pretty much as close as any other sport out there, just like the NFL. So we're really pumped up to talk some NBA, Sean. How are you doing, man? I know we're both up in the Northeast here, and it's a little wackadoo right now.
Oh yeah, that 8 inches of snow coming again after the 20 a few weeks back. So you know how it goes in the Northeast if you're from here, a lot of snow everywhere. Yeah, excited to get this NBA talk going. I mean, I think me and you probably align, or at least are very close. It's NFL, college football, then the NBA, and once the NFL's over, we really lock into this NBA stuff along with the NFL draft. So we kind of just bring you on the same journey we do as sports fans about talking about stuff on the pod. We kind of bring it to you exactly how we do it. I bought my Sunday ticket for the rest. Sunday ticket, my NBA League Pass for the rest of the year. Got to finish it all strong. I watch some of the Kings games, some of these other teams out there. Want to be really informed. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm ready to get started on this NBA.
You just made me think of a great idea by you saying League Pass, because I'm with you. I bought my League Pass too. We should do every week our NBA League Pass team of the week. Like the team that we think is playing, it doesn't have to be a good team even. A team that we think is playing fun. We can end out the NBA show that we do that week with saying, next week, tune into this team because you know how people like, that's my NBA League Pass team because it's a fun team to watch. We should start doing that.
Matchups, yeah, for sure. Like last year, I'm sure a lot of people watched Ja Morant play, like a little bit with Memphis. I'm a Kings fan, so I watch them play. They're not super exciting, but my wife's a Nuggets fan. She watches a ton of Nuggets, so we kind of go back and forth. I had to get League Pass because they just played last night. The Nuggets beat the Kings, but they play again on Saturday, so I had to make sure we could catch both those games. Me and my wife get a little trash talk going. So.
Yeah, and that was a pretty close game, too. It was a fun game to watch. All right, let's get into it. There's so many storylines here going into the last 20-whatever games left of the season. But the biggest storyline, other than LeBron, which we're going to get into in just a minute, is the trade that happened between the Nets and the Sixers. Harden is officially making his debut as a Philadelphia 76er tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Supposedly Ben Simmons, his return is still down the road. The reports are that the Nets want KD to be on the court and healthy before Simmons comes back, which makes sense. I guess they just want KD there as support to Simmons as they move forward. Harden, to me, though, is the biggest part of this trade. First of all, before I get into why that is, I just want to ask you, do you have a winner? I know a lot of people like do winners and losers of the trade. Do you have a winner? Do you like both sides? What were your thoughts of just this trade altogether?
Yeah, usually there's a clear winner in trades, but this one's kind of up in the air because both wanted to be gone, if you know what I mean. And both you can see the fit in the schemes and everything as well, where you get Harden, who's going to be that second offensive player, to Embiid, a 1A, 1B type. And then you get Simmons, who brings some much-needed defense and versatility to the Nets lineup that already has KD, and now with the mandate probably being lifted, Kyrie full-time, you have those two offensive guys. So you just have a floor person for Simmons who can play that point forward and really match up with whoever the opposite team's best player is, no matter their size. So that's kind of a win-win there. If I had to lean, I kind of like the Harden deal to the Sixers. And the main reason is because Simmons wasn't playing. So you get an all-star type player in place for someone who really wasn't playing at all. So that's kind of where you lean with the winner. But I actually do like the deal for both sides and understand the move on both sides as well.
I like the deal for both sides as well. Philadelphia is the winner to me, and it's not necessarily even because of Harden. To me, they're just the winner because they didn't have to give up Tyrese Maxey, and that was my biggest thing. I did not want them to give up Tyrese Maxey. I loved Maxey coming out of Kentucky. I always told you that, Sean, and I really liked him moving forward here. And he's gotten better every single year, and the fact that they didn't have to give him up to me was a very big part of this. And for some reason, I'm blanking on the other Kentucky player they didn't have to give up as well. Or no, Washington player. I also love him. I don't know why his name's not coming.
Bible?
Thibault, yeah. So the fact that they didn't have to give up either of those dudes, which Thibault to me is the best wing defender in the game right now. He is awesome. Maxi's getting better. I love that they were able to get James Harden and they didn't have to give up either of those. Now, with that being said, I have some serious concerns, though, about Harden and how he's going to fit. Now, I think you're right about the way Harden and Embiid are going to play together. The pick and roll will be magical. It will be. But is Harden going to be okay with saying, this is your team, Embiid? Because this is – look, anybody that thinks Harden's going to come in here and take over this team, this is Embiid's team. He is the MVP of the year right now. In my opinion, he is playing outstanding basketball. Harden has to be able to understand that and take over in the moments where the Sixers need them to take over. What Ben Simmons was not able to do. That's what and the pressure is on. The pressure is completely on Harden. In my opinion, Harden now has the most pressure out of any player in the NBA moving forward this season. Now, to the Nets side of things. To me, I love it for Ben Simmons because he is not going to have any pressure to score on him, especially because New York's going to lift this vaccine mandate here shortly. Kyrie's going to be able to play every single game. And really, man, he is going to have no pressure at all to score. I mean, it's strictly going to be defend and get your easy lay-ins and don't even worry about shooting. Now, that could really hurt him down the road because, again, it's going to make him not work on his game, unfortunately. But I think we've gotten to a point where I don't know if he's ever going to work on a game and get a shot. But to me, it puts Simmons in a really good situation where he can just defend and do what he does best. So I agree with you. I like the trade for both things. I want to hit on something here that's a little bit out of it. I'm not comparing because I don't even think it's fair to compare KD and LeBron. I don't think they're even anywhere near each other. I think they're completely different stratospheres. But KD wants to be compared to LeBron. And because of that, what?
KD thinks he's better than LeBron.
Exactly. Yeah. And because of that, I have to bring this up. If LeBron wasn't able to make Harden and Kyrie work as a big three with him, oh my God, he would get crucified. I mean, he would literally get destroyed. And I understand KD was hurt, but the fact that he was not able to make a big three of Harden and Kyrie work, to me, is a little disappointing. I want to see if it could happen. And those are two, when they formed, everybody said, how are they going to lose a game? You have Harden, Kyrie, and KD, and it didn't even last a year and a half. It's a big-time failure. It's a big-time failure, and KD's now going to have to win with these guys to make up for it.
I agree. KD has a lot of pressure on him right here. Not really to prove how great he is, but to just win the whole thing with this Nets team. Yes. That's what KD's judged by right now is championships, really, because that's how great of a player he's become. And I buy into KD a lot as a player. I like KD a ton. For anybody that doesn't know, Kayvon leans LeBron. He's a LeBron guy. Like, he's out there with all the other LeBron lovers, the Nick Wrights in the media, all that. He loves LeBron. I'm more of a middle-of-the-pack guy. I'm not as biased towards that. I don't love LeBron, but I don't hate LeBron. I'm more of that level-headed type guy on it. So when you say that –
perfect for this show, by the way.
Yeah. So when you say KD has to kind of prove that and you felt like he didn't prove it, I think LeBron brings a lot of that pressure on himself, if we're being honest. And we'll talk about that when we do talk LeBron. Yeah. But I think that's kind of why LeBron's judged more for that, and he would have ended up getting crucified for a move like that. Whereas KD he's just snarky with the media in general, man. I think KD's a little bit of a troll, man. He's a little bit of Aaron Rodgers out there trolling people. KD likes to troll. And I understand him on that and feel him. When we're talking about fits, because I wanted to go back to that and make a point on this, the Harden Embiid fit feels good to me because I feel like Embiid's going to be the last pressure shot guy, which Harden doesn't want. Yeah. The one thing I do worry about a little bit is Maxey, Harden, and Embiid all kind of like to face up, kind of ISO ball it. So I do want to see how they work out with a movement type system and really getting the ball around and make sure they're not just ISO the whole time.
Good point.
And on the other side, I actually think the Simmons fit is more seamless just because of the type of player Simmons is. Now with Simmons, I hear a lot of people, oh, well, he's still not going to be able to hit a clutch free throw. Has anyone never heard of offense defense? If they're up, they're going to sub Simmons out on offense because they have Patty Mills, they have Kyrie, they have KD. Those three are going to be the ones with the ball in their hand to hit clutch free throws in the game. Simmons will be on the bench, and they'll sub him back in for offense defense. That's kind of how the coaching thing comes out. We'll see if Steve Nash can think of that and do it. Steve Nash is a little out there with some of his moves. But as far as fit's concerned, I do like the Simmons fit, and I think that's going to be more seamless. I think the more potential upside fit with this trade is the Harden Embiid stuff because they can probably just score on anybody at will from outside and inside.
No doubt about it. And they should. They should absolutely dominate from outside inside. You have a great point about being able to sub Ben Simmons in and out. And again, to be honest with you, now, if the team purposely goes and does the fouling on Simmons, that's one thing. But again, I don't even think Simmons is going to need to have the ball in his hands towards the end of games. He's just going to strictly be there to guard the best player, and he'll do it good. But with Kyrie and KD, the pressure falls on them to get the score. They also have Seth Curry who can knock down shots. And then, like you said, they have Patty Mills. I'm with you, man. It's a seamless fit. He should transition there perfectly. Now, I do worry about his mental side of things, and I'm not saying he didn't have mental illness or anything like that. I have no clue. But I think it's fair to speculate and wonder what really went into it. I think that's totally fair. I don't think you're kind of like downgrading the whole big issues with mental health, which is a huge issue. But it's a little skeptical. This guy out of nowhere has a really, really, really bad playoff series, and then he has mental illness, and it all goes, to crap. He never wants to play again. Again, I'm not questioning that, but I think it's fair if someone was. That we can leave it at that. But where is his mindset? Because let's be real, just like in Philly, I would say maybe even more now. It is win a championship or it's not a successful season in Brooklyn. Even just because they're on the 8th seed right now, it's because KD's been hurt. It doesn't matter where they end up. Last year when the Lakers ended up in the play-in, the pressure was still to win the whole thing or it's a failure. And that is exactly what it's going to be for the Nets. And my only concern about the Nets is this. This isn't like our NBA seasons of the old. The All-Star game does not happen at the halfway point. We are way more than halfway season through. There's only like 25 games left. Are they going to be able to gel enough, not only to gel enough and be ready to roll by playoff time, but to gel enough and get out of the play-in tournament? That to me is the question right now, because teams like Boston are absolutely smacking the Nets right now. The Nets can do nothing against these teams. Kyrie, the Nets are 4-10 or something like that with Kyrie out there too. So it's not even that great with just Kyrie. Like, KD's got to get healthy. Ben Simmons has to get out there. Are you worried that it might be a little too late?
So you're worried that they might not make it out of the play-in if they don't get. I'm not concerned about that at all. Now,
I mean, let me just tell you this, bro. Let me read to you real quick here the teams that are going to be in the play-in. First of all, it could be the Toronto Raptors, which I love the way the Raptors are playing right now. It also could be the Charlotte Hornets or the Atlanta Hawks. Shit, man, the Hawks with Trae Young, they got real hot last year. In a one game, you never know. Now, because they would most likely have to play 2 games to lose, I'm not sitting here to predict, but if they're in the play-in and they end up having to play the Miami Heat in round 1, I don't know if they win that series. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that Heat series would be a closer one. I think they get out of the play-in fine. I think KD's just too good to lose in the play-in. Well, that's my opinion of it. I think they're going to need to get back in gel here soon, though, to start winning big-time playoff series for sure. With a lot of these better, more deeper teams that have been together, chemistry all year long. I'm a bigger believer in KD than you are. We kind of lean that way. I think KD's able to carry them through 1 or 2 of these series, really. And I think Kyrie will fall in line. Kyrie was playing fine last year till he got hurt. I mean, really, it took KD's shoe being on the line for them not to beat the Bucks, really. And that was with a bunch of injured pieces. That's how good KD was playing down the stretch. You tell me they have Seth Curry out there and Patty Mills shooting threes, and that Kyrie can just come back and be Kyrie, and he's going to be rested too. He hasn't been playing a lot either. I think we're going to see them kind of gel a little bit better than that other team did, just because they were off the court so much with injury, and it was a lot of different combinations. Now, whether Steve Nash can really up the team and be a good enough coach to be on the championship team, that's something I'm really concerned with the Nets. I don't love Steve Nash's rotations. I don't love some of his in-game decisions. I don't think they're all that great off of like out of bounds plays and stuff like that. Steve Nash is kind of just there to massage egos, and I don't even know if he does that all that well. So that's one thing that worries me. But if KD approved him, that's how the NBA is. Really, your stars make decisions on your coaching. Your stars make decisions on who plays with who. Unless we were talking about LeBron here on this decision that we're talking about next up. That's kind of how the NBA works. I believe in KD. I believe they'll get it going and get further into the playoffs. I think they do need to start playing. I need to get a good 10 games with them in together probably to really mesh together and feel really comfortable to make a deep run.
Yeah, again, if I had to bet, they're going to get out of the playoffs. But the thing about the play-in, the thing you said about the coaching, though, you're spot on. Because I tell you right now, looking at what most likely their first-round matchup will be, it's either going to be the Bulls. They definitely have the better coach in Billy Donovan. It's going to be the Heat. They 1,000% have the better coach in Eric Spoelstra. The 76ers, Doc Rivers is a better coach. In the playoffs, it can be iffy, but I do give him credit over Nash. Or it's going to be the Bucks with Budenholzer as the coach, and we learned a little bit last year that he can do some things if need be. So your point about Nash is really good. Back to the Sixers here, and then let's move on to LeBron. Last thing on the Sixers. To me, the Sixers have to get to the Eastern Finals. I'm not going to be one of those people that say they have to get to the championship and win it all, because this is a tough move. And I'm realistic here. Even though Embiid and Harden should gel really well, it's still really hard to just get that going in 20 games. It is tough. It's tough to learn who's going to be the alpha, who's not. Is Harden going to be able to drop back and be okay with Embiid being the alpha? Who's going to take the final shot? It should be Embiid, but maybe Harden wants it. Maybe he wants to prove something that he can. So I'm going to give them some leeway, but you've got to get to the East Finals. You cannot have this type of roster and make this type of move and not get to the Eastern Finals. Harden has to play well. He has to stay healthy. Embiid has to keep dominating, and I want to see them win 2 playoff series at the least to move forward.
I'll go deeper than that. I think they need to win it this year. I think it's this year or next year for them. Because I don't
Agreed.
I don't think this is a long-term play for them. I think the longer this lasts without a title, the less likely it becomes that they win one. Harden's got that propensity for the nightlife. Let's be honest. He can be in shape or out of shape, really. Let's call it what it is. Great player, loves to party. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, it'll break your body down quicker. And he's been hurt with a hamstring these last 2 years. And to be honest, I know he might have been faking it a little more to get traded right here. But let's be real. He can start pulling some things. And with Embiid, you never know with a 7-footer. He had all those injury issues at the beginning. You never know when he could come down wrong and a foot happen or anything.
No doubt.
This has got to happen quickly, in my opinion. And they're going to need to gel quick, because I think then this year or next year, they've got to win a title, or else I don't think it really happens without another major swing of a trade again.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm next year, or they're in big trouble. I'm giving them some leeway this year, but I swear, man, if they lose in the first or second round, it could be a disaster early, because that becomes tension, that becomes finger pointing, and Harden is not someone that likes all of that stuff. And another thing is, Simmons thought that the crowd was tough on him. Wait till you see what happens, Harden, if you don't come through in the playoffs. That Sixers crowd, they don't give a damn. They will be tough
in general. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they will be tough on